5, 4, 3, 2.
Wait. Okay, we're back. Freedom Forum 1 on the illustrious third month, the 23rd day of the year 2016.
Coming up on Easter weekend.
Yeah, Easter weekend coming up.
No more fish fries.
No more fish fries.
Y'all can eat meat now.
No.
It's coming.
No, coming. Friday, Friday I'm going to have this big pile of shrimp. Not a fish fry, but shrimp.
So after Sunday, y'all can eat meat.
No, after Friday. Actually, according to the rules in the Catholic Church,
They have rules?
after you're past a certain age, right, Joe? We don't have to attend to the Friday you can't eat meat stuff.
Really?
But I can guarantee you, my wife's been a Catholic all her life.
There was no meat in your house.
There was no going around that rule. I tried. And it did not work. Let's pray. Boy, do we need to pray, huh? Dear Lord, I'm thankful to have you in my life for someone that I can look to for strength and power. Lord, we need to pray every day for all the Christians around the world. I will give Father Gill a big amen for talking about ISIS and 1 year in the Catholic Church and 1 year of the beheading of 12 Christians. And his homily behind that was outstanding. Lord, we need lots of prayers for our country. There is so much, it's just indespicable, the number of people that have gone away from you and your guidance and are evil and don't even know they're evil, I think, half the time. So we need to pray for those people. We need to pray for the people in Brussels. Again, ISIS attacked Brussels. And what they found out today is that the two guys that did that, the big part of it in the airport, were actually staying with the guy they captured last couple of weeks ago. Lord, we need to pray for our country. We need to pray for all the people here. We need to pray for strong leadership to shut down our borders and get our country turned around and make it a much safer place to stay. In your name we pray. Amen. I sit and watch the elections or the pre-elections or
Getting depressing.
or the circus. I mean, I'm so tired of Ted Cruz sitting on TV slamming Trump, and I'm tired of Trump doing certain things. But you know what the funny part is? Several months ago, people said he was out of control.
Trump.
About this ISIS and
And lo and
the
behold,
borders.
we're right on the money.
Let's see, San Bernardino, France, Brussels. Interesting. But our illustrious leader, Obama, was at a ball game yesterday.
With Raul Castro.
With Raul Castro. Now, here we gotta act this out. Obama went to put his arm around Raul. And he
Don't touch me, unclean one. What it is, Raul don't want to be touched by a Muslim.
I thought that was pretty interesting. I thought the other interesting thing is when a world leader flies into a country, the leader of that country usually meets you at the airport. Well, seems that he didn't meet him there. Right. My other question is, why is his wife, 2 kids, and her mother on this trip?
Because we pay for it.
Yeah, it's another vacation.
It's called socialism. Socialism is excellent until you run out of somebody else's money to spend.
Now here's the deal. They left Cuba and went to Argentina. It's another paid vacation by the American taxpayers.
But everybody thinks that's okay.
No, there's a lot of people that want to.
Jim, there's quite a few blacktivists out there who just think we're just being too critical of him. You know, I actually had a liberal Democrat that I used to know who tried to compare Obama's working vacations to George Bush. And I told him, I said,
Oh, yeah.
How can you
Yeah.
compare George Bush flying to his own house in Crawford, Texas, to Obama's over $70 million?
No, it's more.
Well, I'm
over
being
100
conservative.
million.
That's what we can verify. There's a lot,
100 million.
there's a lot more to
At
it.
least.
Yeah, there's a lot more to it. I said, you cannot even put the two in the same ballpark. And he wanted to argue. I'm going, you can't argue that. He's going to his own house where Obama is going all over the world. The Africa trip. I think the Africa trip was actually the most expensive because the Sixth Fleet had to follow
But
him.
Obama didn't go there.
I know, but the First Lady did.
Really?
And the Sixth Fleet had to provide continuous
what did
air
you just
cover.
say? What did you just say? You really using a
The First Lady?
term, First Lady.
All right, I'll just say it. Mouchel. Mouchel.
Yes, and you know what today, speaking of First Lady, these people are really despicable, putting nude pictures of Trump's wife
Okay.
on Facebook.
Let's put this into context. First off,
Uh-oh.
Trump's wife was a swimsuit model. So if you want to make hay out of pictures of Melania Trump, then you're going to have to make hay about every Victoria's Secret model and all of the other professional grade models who have either paraded around in their underwear and or their swimsuits for Sports Illustrated or any other medium, because that's what they get paid to do, number one. Number two, the retort by Trump was even more interesting about Ted Cruz's wife, because a lot of people don't know Ted Cruz's campaign was funded by Goldman Sachs. Ted Cruz's wife, Heidi, is an executive VP for Goldman Sachs, and she is also a Council of Foreign Relations member, which is one of the dirtiest organizations outside of the Bilderbergers in this country. So that is what Trump was threatening to reveal to the internet crowd, and many of us already know that. But it would definitely damage Ted Cruz because he wants to come out as Mr. Non-Insider, Mr. Outside the Loop, Mr. New Guy, and Goldman Sachs is at the heart of our corporate greed and corruption.
I said, Terry, my good friend Terry, and I were talking today, and I made a comment about Cruz and Goldman Sachs and being tied to Wall Street. Her answer was, all of them are tied to Wall Street.
Not like he is.
And I said the same thing.
Not when your wife
He
is the
was-
corporate VP.
Right. First of all, his wife is the corporate VP at that Goldman Sachs. The second thing is they funded his Senate race.
Okay, they're funding his presidential race. When Terry would say that to me, my retort would be, okay, who funded Trump? Trump?
Yep.
Trump is beholden to no one. You can say what you want about Trump in any context. Trump is a billionaire. That is why he said, give me your vote, not your money. I don't need it. Whereas Cruz got money from Goldman Sachs. Hey, that puts him in bed with corporate Wall Street right off the bat. But funny, Hillary's being funded by Goldman Sachs too. They're kind of hedging their bets. Wait. Is that like George Bush's family
Yeah, but I
when they sold
understand
guns to
the
both sides of the
Saudi-
Civil War?
The Saudi king
Him too.
is funding her well since Trump told him, won't be no more buying politics into Saudi Arabians.
Yeah.
See, people think that's bad. Now, look, I don't agree with Trump's cursing and stuff like that, But you know what? He's being real. Now, don't get it wrong. I'm not 100% Trump person.
Well, nobody is.
But I'm tired of sitting in the morning at breakfast, drinking my coffee and reading the paper, and seeing Cruz on Fox
Lying.
sitting there, and all he's doing is slamming Trump. And I'm sitting there going, tell me what you're going to do.
Yeah,
Look, Cruz, you read this?
Jim, you didn't bring out the best part, though. Cruz has taken Trump's talking points and using them for his own, but then attacking him for it. So how does that make sense?
Well, here's the other thing. I lost all respect for Cruz when he went along with the gang and said that Trump caused those riots in Chicago.
Look, we have to all agree that the big problem, that's not us. The big problem,
Whose phone is that?
that was outside. Not us. The big problem that we had is the fact that there are forces in this country that pay professional protesters. Soros is paying for MoveOn.org and Black Lives Matter. And these people who do these protests are professional agitators. Now, folks, here goes the other thing. When times get hard and things get ugly, those same paid professional protesters will be the opposition. They're going to be coming to your houses to loot, rob, kill, and pillage.
Exactly.
So this is the reason why you need proficiency with your firearms, to have your firearms, to carry your firearms daily and know what to do with them. That is the important part. Because, folks, the gun in the car does not exist. You will not make it to the car. Sorry. And the gun you shoot once a year is not an issue. You won't hit anything before they overwhelm you. Only shots that hit count. And when you look at some of the foolishness and some of the lengths that these Black Lives Matters, MoveOn.org style protesters are willing to go to, folks, they burn people's businesses down. They burn their houses down.
And what have they threatened if Trump gets elected?
Yeah, they're going to go and kill all the white people.
That exact thing that you just talked about.
And they're talking about murdering white babies in the crib.
True.
Straight up statements.
I mean,
straight up
statement.
So,
now,
folks,
a lot of people wonder why the overall Republicans are designing. All right, guys, I'm trying to focus here. They're wondering why are all these Republicans dead set against Trump?
bought and paid.
Well, this little article, and I've brought this up many times.
We have the best politicians money can buy.
This is a whole article on how much money
That's the TPP,
the TPP
Trans-Pacific Partnership.
that these guys got paid to vote for it. Boehner, $5 million. Ryan, $2 million. McConnell, $9 million. Why do you think McConnell's against Trump? Because you know what? This well goes dry.
Now,
And
Jim,
I mean, we have a list down here.
Jim, one context for this. This is just the payments they got for one bill, one issue. How many bills, like the big omnibus spending bill that came through that all the Republicans supported Obama, how much did they make off of that thing? See, folks, this is why we have always said every senator and congressman at the U.S. level within a year is a millionaire. McConnell got $9 million on one bill, one big bill. So what happens with the other hundreds bills that we get for the rest of the year? What happens with all of those?
Here, this is our boy on the
Yes, our reporter in the street.
Says Trump is a direct threat to the establishment power.
He is.
The elite know that Donald is trying to destroy the empire they have built.
Yep.
Now, the second thing what we were talking about, NYPD Intelligence Commissioner says encryption enabling terror attacks. Feds rush to blame encryption despite reports Belgian intelligence had prior knowledge of airport attack.
And I have the article right here that says that Belgian intelligence, and this is coming from Haaretz.com website, said specifically that the Belgians had specific knowledge, precise warning of the targeting of that airport for bombing, because the guy they grabbed last week was the roommate of the two brothers.
Right.
And the third guy was involved as well. Yet they did not take action. So what can we draw from this? Okay. Let's paint the picture for the people. Number one, anytime you hear on national news that we are fighting ISIS, the only person fighting ISIS is Putin, because ISIS is us. Let's draw this out.
Obama, and let's get this straight.
Let's draw it out.
Obama and Hillary formed ISIS to get rid of who?
Bashir Assad in Syria.
Exactly.
Because one of the big sticking points of Middle Eastern politics, the Russian ship base and sub base on the coast of Syria was the Russian way into the Mediterranean directly. Everything else had to come through the Straits of Bosporus from the Black Sea. So these people decided, Hillary and Obama, that they would create an organization to oppose Bashir Assad. and it would be funded and routed through Turkey. That is why Turkey has been trading money for ISIS oil, and that is why everybody on TV keeps saying we're fighting an ineffective war on ISIS. That's because it is ineffective. He's not going to blow up his own people. This is why there was no air support for the Benghazi Libyan effort, because Obama was behind the kidnapping of the ambassador. What was supposed to happen is Obama was going to arrange the kidnapping of Ambassador Stevens and then trade him with the Hajis for the blind sheik who was giving them all that trouble, who masterminded one of the previous Twin Towers hits, who was sitting in Guantanamo, and he would come out the big hero for the election. What they didn't anticipate is that 2 former Navy SEALs would be there with the rest of their contractors, would slug it out and shoot up their hostage takers and totally queer the deal. Yeah. See, they were anticipating that the CIA base, which was a mile down the road from where the temporary embassy location was, would not be a factor. If you watch Benghazi, you'll note that the idiot who ran that operation steadfastly refused to release the forces until they finally just mutinied and said, we're going, and ran a mile down the road and then backed up the guys. Because if you watch that movie, and the 3 surviving members of Benghazi verified that movie is accurate, there are several things you will see. Up until the 81 millimeter mortar strikes, 2 strikes on the roof of the building, our guys were winning. Under-equipped, undermanned, they were winning, which was not good for opposition forces. Well, and the interesting thing was, all of that comes around full circle because we caused it. Hillary is directly responsible for what happened in Libya, for what happened in the Arab Spring.
Wait a minute, did you not watch her speech?
No, I did not. I cannot watch her lips move because everything that comes forth is lies.
We lost no one in Benghazi.
She actually said that. We lost no one. And the parents of those people, of Ty Woods and the other gentleman who died, are livid. They are livid. And Glenn Doherty, their families are just livid because,
I mean,
you can tell Hillary's lying because her lips are moving. She's breathing.
And she's never told a lie. She has never told a lie.
By the way,
I said,
they did plastic surgery on her.
She just told a lie while she was telling she didn't tell a lie.
Well, they did plastic surgery on her to put a plastic nose on her so her nose wouldn't grow anymore because they kept running into the cameras every time she got on TV, you know? Yes. Pretty soon she's going to pop horns and a tail, but then Lucifer will be jealous.
This is today's laugh for the day. You need to pay attention to this. This totally describes the seriousness of how bad things are today with our...
The only time we see this much stupidity is when Jesse Waters on Bill O'Reilly's show.
And that other guy that
goes out on the street. Like the last one he did, there were people he interviewed that didn't know that Washington, D.C. was named for George Washington and who that was.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, the other one was he asked them if they thought socialism was a good thing. And then he asked them, well, could you define socialism for me?
Oh, they can't.
And they went, okay, let's read this. To add insult to injury, today's laugh for the day. To add insult to injury, she was from Purdue. Those of you who worry about Democrats versus Republicans, relax. Here is a bigger problem. In a Purdue University classroom, they were discussing the qualifications to be president of the United States. It was pretty simple. The candidate must be a natural-born citizen of at least 35 years of age. However, one girl in the class immediately started in on how unfair it was of the requirement to be a natural-born citizen. In short, her opinion was that this requirement prevented many capable individuals from becoming president. The class was taking it in and letting her rant, and not many jaws hit the floor when she wrapped up her argument by stating, "What makes a natural-born citizen any more qualified to lead this country than one born by C-section?"
We kid you not.
Yep. These are the same kinds of 18-year-olds that are now voting in our elections. Lord, we need more help than we thought we did. Is that amazing?
That's in a college.
That's
Yes.
in a college. This isn't a joke. It's a laugh for the day, but this was real.
Hartwell,
This was verified.
the best thing that I ever saw was they had a split screen that showed two different scenes, and it was a comparison that said that the Missouri University students need a safe place as an 18-year-old to be able to run and hide. And then the other side of the page was this 18-year-old was hitting the Normandy beach on June the 6th, didn't need a safe place, had a rifle. That's how far we have come.
You know, I was sitting next in an education meeting last year, sitting next to a representative from Northwest Louisiana, really good guy. He's a retired teacher. And we were talking before the education committee meeting started. And he said, Jim, you realize now in the schools, we don't start teaching history until the year 1887.
After the War of Northern Aggression.
Yep. And
You
the other
avoid-
thing is, and people, you know, you're going to say, Jim, you're out there. They are not teaching cursive handwriting in school anymore. Do you know why?
Well, Jim, I used to have clients that used to lick their thumb and make their mark. They couldn't write at all.
But here's the deal. Do you know why? Look at the
Because they can't read.
Declaration of Independence.
Can't read.
It's written in cursive. I mean, you can get it printed, but they don't want them to be able to read those documents. Why is that?
Jim, they also don't want people to know the actual history, because that way, when little Bernie Sanders people decide to come out, they'll not know why we fought for what we've got.
You
Who
know,
fought for what we've got?
Yeah, you know, Bernie Sanders admitted that he had protesters in Chicago. His
Well, of
people
course.
were in there protesting.
Of course.
I mean, if you want socialism, great.
But
I
this
think
is the
all
thing.
of us in this room are going to sell our houses, and we're going to go buy a frickin' island somewhere and just have our own community. I think we could probably arm it pretty good too.
Well, my problem with it is, why does everybody come here but want to change the system? Why not go where the system is the way you like it? If you're Muslim, go to the Muslim country. If you're socialist, go to Europe. We don't want it here.
Hey, I like those actors and stuff that
You know what always made me
wanna
laugh?
leave.
Yeah, but you know what always made me laugh? Sean Penn and Danny Glover would go to Venezuela and pal around with Hugo Chavez, who was one of the most brutal, murderous dictators ever. And the problem is, they didn't have to live under his death squads. Danny Glover wasn't hanging by his toes while somebody was doing something. Let's see. Go ahead, caller.
Go ahead, caller.
Hey,
Hey.
you didn't see the latest one. They have a college in Atlanta that somebody was going around making some chalk marks, Trump 2016, and it was traumatizing the students.
Yeah.
Hey, everything traumatizes people today.
Yeah, I know. You ought to see them when I go to the store with my piece on my side.
Well,
Yeah.
we have different opinions of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just. Yeah, and they had another thing. I was going around Lafayette today doing some business I had to do, and I was listening to Rush Limbaugh and them on the radio. Them two bombers in Brussels, the brothers,
Right?
was roommates with the one that they captured last week.
Yeah, we covered that a minute ago. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I had a commercial.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
I'm on Ustream.
Uh-oh.
Every time something good come up, they throw a commercial in there.
Well, of course.
yeah.
So,
Of course.
yeah, just like my landline's not working tonight, because I'll pick it up and I get a busy signal. And I didn't dial nothing
They're
yet.
trying to stop you from calling in, Goat Man. Look out.
Yeah, I know. They're after me.
That was the vote against the goat.
Yeah, I'm gonna go and take my cruise sticker off. I'm gonna go find me some Trump stickers. I'm gonna see how many people I can traumatize.
Go ahead.
We'll catch y'all later.
All right,
All right,
buddy.
John.
Have a good one.
Adios.
You know, when you look at this, and then we got from our dozens of college students in fear after Trump 2016 scribbled in chalk across the campus. My reaction to the chalking was one of fear, says one frightened student.
You know, Jim, I'm pretty
They
sure.
should be fearful.
I'm pretty sure they can go to Walmart and get fresh underwear if they wet their little drawers. It's okay. Walmart has them by the 12 pack. And they can get Depends if it constantly scares them.
You know another good one I saw? The Muslims getting food stamps.
Oh, yeah.
Unquote, want them to gear the food stamps towards their food.
Yes.
Excuse me?
The
Excuse
store has
me.
what it has. Sorry.
You know what my answer to that is?
Swim back?
Go across the big pond.
No, I think, Jim, we should do better than that. I think that we should load those Muslims up and fly them over ISIS and airdrop them so they can rejoin their brothers and pray to Allah as they're joining.
Yeah.
I think that's a personal choice. They want to meet Allah with 72 virgins. I say we should assist them.
You know, the other thing,
10,000 feet's a good level playing field.
and Brett and I are pretty involved, and we met with the sheriff last week and feel pretty comfortable with what the sheriff had to say about the sanctuary city. And that one of the biggest things that I've been working on, and so has Brett, is this refugee resettlement thing.
It is a farce. It is a Muslim invasion.
It is Obama's article. I saw another thing today about saying things are going in place for his third term.
Folks, this whole Muslim refugee resettlement thing
Oh,
is an invasion. Maxine Waters, that bard of common sense and legitimacy, old crab.
who's that?
Maxine Waters. She's a politico.
What did you say?
Oh, she's the bard of legitimacy and morality. Says that she approves of the Islamic faith and
And
refugees.
Sharia law.
Yes, and my comment to that was, I really hope she gets to live under Sharia law, because every time she opens her stupid mouth, somebody gonna slap her down.
You know,
Ain't like over here.
people, you know, and I've studied this. I mean, it's not like I will talk off the top of my head. And we're involved with some pretty good people that are very involved and have a lot of, our
Experience and details.
Our resource thing has gone from here on the refugee resettlement thing to here. I mean, the base that we have now is international, and there are some things that are going, and you're going to hear more. Right now, we're kind of keeping it in a controlled group to get all our ducks in a row. But the thing is that this can't happen. And I will tell you what, our sheriff agrees with this. Our sheriff-elect agrees with this. And I think, I'm hoping for May that he'll be at the Patriots meeting and stand up there and take the questions.
We cannot emphasize enough that this is a Muslim invasion right by the Quran, by Sharia law. They are told to infiltrate a society, and everywhere they go, they take over. Go to Dearborn, Michigan. It is all Muslims.
Our reporter,
Okay?
Trump considers nuking ISIS. I don't rule out anything. I want them to think maybe we would use nukes.
Well, there's only one problem. Putin will beat him to it.
Yeah, I know.
Putin already said if his troops come under a bad enough threat, he'll nuke them.
What we need you to do with this refugee, you need to be talking to your churches. I'm telling you, on Sunday, I was never so excited in the Catholic Church when I heard Father Gill get up there and say, today is 1 year ago today that ISIS, And when he said the word ISIS in church, in the Catholic Church, I'm going, my friend turns to me, "You've been talking to Father Gill?"
You have. Yes, you have.
And I have.
Yes, you have.
And he did part of the ISIS, and he described it, the execution of cutting their heads off, and he talked about
Yeah, those Coptic Christians on the beach.
right. He talked about the what the Christians are going through today, and I mean he spent a good couple of minutes on that, and I'm like, my friend Mike's looking at me. "You're really starting to get to him, Jim."
Finally.
Finally, but the
Yeah.
whole thing is that none of that. I don't know that if I was responsible for that or not. I don't take credit for that. But the thing is I got more people talking to me in my Catholic church now. I'm involved in Come Lord Jesus. I'm involved in That Man Is You. I serve every Sunday. I'm in the Knights of Columbus. All those functions, people talk to me. Why is that? Because I'm not afraid to talk about it. If you don't like it, walk away.
And they're starting to feel it.
And they're starting now, maybe 6 months ago when I was talking about it, it really, like you say, until it hit home.
But Jim, you know what else has happened? In the last 30 days, we have had 7 big Muslim killing events
Here in America.
all over the world. But this is the point. We have had 7 big publicized Muslim attacks, coordinated, planned attacks all over the world. And there are those who say that in Brussels they were trying to get the Americans. They tried.
And
Now, folks, here was something that you need to take away from this event. If you are out in public and you see someone with a bag or pushing a cart or something that looks of Middle Eastern descent, that only has one glove on one hand,
exactly.
look at the pictures of the bombers. The bomb detonation device was in that left hand. Leave the area immediately, because that is how they detonated the device. That device is set up that if someone kills,
That whole cart. Was,
if someone
to do the damage that they did,
Yeah.
they had to have tons of explosives in those carts.
and then
And see what they're doing is hitting soft targets just outside the security.
well, the point being is that they're using a dead man switch. So even if a sniper was able to put a bullet in the guy's head, as he dies, once the bomb is armed and his hand opens, it goes. So the only thing you have is get out of the area or get behind something thick and concrete. And folks, we have not seen that in this area, in this country yet, but we are going to. Now, the interesting thing is the explosive they're using is called TATP, which is a peroxide-based derivative. And it's quite potent, as evidenced by the damage. They're using shrapnel mixed with it.
Not only the airport, but the
Everywhere.
subway.
Well, this is now their standard operating procedure, because this explosive is easily made by homemade chemicals. It takes a really good bomb maker to do it, but once he does it, it's fairly easy to do. And this is the problem that we have. In this country, jihadis have already been found to have had weapon stockpiles. Several months ago, Jim, we reported on propane cylinders being stolen. Folks, if you go and look on the
And all of a sudden that went quiet.
if you look on the computer, they make a kind of a jury-rigged mortar out of a propane bottle
With
that
a
flies.
rocket- with a rocket
Yeah, that
attached
flies
to
for
it.
about a mile and then explodes. And plus, take that into account with the cell phone hoarding and the cell phone thefts, which are
Oh, yeah.
used to detonate for some of this stuff and
Was
to
it
communicate.
Walmart they bought all the cell phones from? Or
There were
what?
several. There were several.
Several.
But the point being, if you put in context the big weapon caches, the propane cylinders, the explosives and grenades that have been found to be socked away, these people are setting up those type of events for here. Now, folks, I'll tell you honestly, there's a gun show, and you can go to the gun show, and you can buy at the gun show. And you should have, if you listened to Tom all those years or listening to us, already have been at the gun show getting your everyday carry stuff, because I am telling you, we are not far off from Brussels, Belgium, Sweden, Austria, and Germany. It will come a time in this country, folks, where you will have to stand on your own 2 feet and prepare to do what your ancestors did at a bridge in Lexington Green, April the 19th in 1775. You ain't going to be able to call 911. You ain't going to be able to depend on anybody else except people that you know for years who are like-minded and have prepared. An emphasis on that word prepared. If you cannot defend yourself, you will merely be another victim. It depends. Accuracy, reach, precision. You are going to have to be able to hit the target. Merely firing rounds to scare somebody will not stop these murderous killers. You are going to have to take responsibility for yourself and your family, or else you will die. Muslims are more than happy to send infidels to their early grave. They love it. It gives them brownie points.
Look at those 2 guys. They were good-looking young guys. I mean, we're not the scare. I don't know if it's scare. We're just trying to make you aware.
Jim, people need to be scared. There's some people in Brussels who are pretty darn scared right now. There's some people in Germany who are pretty darn scared. There's a bunch of women out there and all over Europe are pretty darn scared they're going to get raped.
Yeah, well,
they need to be scared.
See, well, look what happened in
Fear makes you do what you're supposed to do.
The motorcycle guys stepped up.
And need more of them.
Yeah.
Folks, any of you non-vets out there that ride with motorcycle groups, we need you. Trump needs you. If things worked out the way they're supposed to work out, every time Trump had an event, I would like to see the motorcycle guys be at a Trump event and pull external security. So when the yo-yos show up, we got some good right-wing veterans out there who are confident in what they do and what they're about and can rev their motorcycles and drown out the yo-yos when they start getting stupid.
Do you understand that recently, due to a quirk in the way the law is written, that Obama cut the pay of the military guys again?
How is that a shock?
Not a shock. And the thing is that he took money out of the VA.
And gave it to who?
Syrian refugees.
Oh, wait a minute. He's funding jihadis. So let's put this in context for you folks. I'm telling you to buy guns and ammo to defend yourself against the jihadis that Obama is funding and importing.
I'll tell you what.
How do you like that one, folks?
I mean Brussels. And I'll give Cruz. Cruz said he either needs to come home or go to Brussels.
But he wants to play baseball with Raul.
Well, no, he had to go to Argentina. His family hasn't visited Argentina yet.
He hasn't gone to Vita Perón on it,
And the thing is that I'm going to tell you what, we got to do this every show. We got to talk about this refugee resettlement. This is look.
We are bringing in the seeds of our destruction.
I'm 69 years old, but I got 11. Well, the 11th one is probably coming this week. Grandchildren and one great grandchild. Some of them are grown.
Jim, I can honestly
20s,
say, I would not want to be raising children in this world and this environment right now.
Not today. And
Not
the
today.
thing is, I actually was talking to Father Gill, and I said, what worries me is, I don't know how many years I got left. Only the good Lord knows that. But the thing is that I'm concerned about my 5-year-old brilliant grandson.
Teach him to shoot.
Yeah, well, his daddy, well, you know his daddy. But the thing is then we have one that was not my one stepdaughter, 45 years old, is the one that's given us the 11th one. And we all know that wasn't planned. But the thing is,
happen.
These things happen, and it worries me. You know, when me and Joe and Hartwell and Brett were growing up, you know, I lived in the country, climbed the trees, BB guns, shooting birds, and
I ran around the woods all the time.
And I know I worked in the tobacco fields, and you know, we played baseball in my grandfather's acre lot behind my house.
Let me do my imitation. We didn't have people that were constantly doing this.
Yeah, and that's gone. It is totally gone. You know what? Going to an event, like I like, and these guys get after me, but I like going to see LSU football. That's
Really?
105,000 people in the stadium. You know what? The last game I went to last year, I sat there and looked around the stadium and said, my God,
What a target.
4 or 5 well-placed detonation things, time over. Why? It's not so much, why would I think that?
Because we just watched it happen in Brussels.
Exactly.
And we're starting to think over here, oh my God, what if they did it here? And football athletic events, basketball games are perfect opportunities for these jihadist murderers, and it's all televised. On nationwide TV, you would watch them pay homage to Allah by doing what they do. Televised.
I went to the March Madness thing when Wisconsin played in New Orleans, and the security that I had to go through
But Jim,
to get. Now it was the Superdome.
look at the security
But
they got to Brussels airport and they beat it.
Security was checking you 100 yards from the stadium.
But Jim, you're not thinking about one thing. What if Obama's people helped them do it?
Oh yeah.
Because, okay, Obama is sending money to the refugees. He is importing them. He is leaving the border wide open. He's not searching mosques. They're not moving on the 23 known ISIS training camps. What are they doing? Oh, they got federal SOG Marshall SWAT teams chasing down delinquent student loans.
Oh yeah, and then they come after people.
Which is
like
civil.
You and
Oh,
I.
raw milk. Raw milk farmers are having to have the sheriff in the county they're in defend them against the
What was
FDA.
that bug on the Bundy Ranch or whatever.
What's that?
Too many grasshoppers on the Bundy Ranch or
I
something.
don't know.
It's like.
I don't know. But
No, I'm being facetious.
all I can say is Obama might help them do something like that because the Muslims are his people. I put nothing past him. He got 4 of our Americans killed by his own jihadis at his own hand.
I was just hoping that he liked Cuba so well
He'd stay.
that he'd stay.
Well, given the fact that Raul did not want to be touched by the Muslim devil, I don't think the Castro wants them there.
That's one of the best pictures I've seen.
I don't think it's a
Got
matter
hold
of.
of his arm like this.
Oh no! Stop!
No!
Don't touch me, you Muslim dog! You dirty Muslim dog! Don't touch me!
That was awesome. It was
Oh, that was hilarious.
You know, and then
Unclean one.
ESPN was interviewing him. You should have looked at that video, that tape.
The baseball game.
No, the baseball game. Yeah, they really. I'm telling you what, them guys did a good job. But you look.
Well, yeah, in Cuba, you get it wrong, you die.
Oh, but I mean, I sat and I saw and watched some of that, and there's Brussels up in smoke, hundreds of people injured, 30 people killed,
And
9 Americans.
And upwards of 200 and something people
Yeah.
injured, and the number's climbing.
And he's sitting there doing the wave. and 1 minute, he talked 1 minute about Brussels.
But Jim, do you expect anything less
No.
from the community organizer, our own Zorro, the gay blade, dope smoking, golfing yo-yo? You know,
Wait, I'm going to take notes on that.
we can go down the list. I mean, he's got quite a list of accomplishments, you know.
This here would title Crazy
Riding
Coffee.
a gay bicycle, you know, exercising like a
You can
yo-yo.
bring them down here and teach them to eat crawfish. Only they're not dead.
Secret Service will come get you for that one.
Oh, oops. I didn't say it. Now, Butch the other day said something on there. I called him down on that. I said, don't do that again.
Get a visit.
He'll get a visit. He figures he's ahead of me in the visit category.
He might be.
Robert. Go ahead.
Hello.
He hung up. Call back if you want. But we're trying to make you aware. I mean, there's so many people that you know, you got the Bernie Sanders and the Clintons saying, we're going to give you everything.
That's
Everything
because
is
there are
free.
morons out there who expect everything for nothing. You don't remember the lady? Oh, Obama got elected. Oh, I don't have to pay my car insurance. I don't have to pay my rent. Everything's free now. And I'm sitting there going,
I'll
what
tell you
planet
what
does this
the-
woman come from?
In my travels, I was down in Donaldsonville,
The big city,
and they had, I think it was Donaldsonville.
Highway 1.
They had signs up advertising the free phones.
Of course.
And I'm like, what?
This is the thing.
I bet
that-
I didn't qualify.
This is the thing we cannot get through these numbskulls' heads. Nothing is free.
Free.
Somebody worked and paid for it. There is nothing free.
There isn't. And you know, I watched Bernie Sanders, and I can't believe how many people are cheering.
It's because they're greedy and they're playing off of the people's ignorance.
I think what we're missing here is, and a lot of the things we talked about, and I'll tell you what, this I've seriously studied this. Remember we talked about one of these, but I think probably the next meeting, because I've had a lot of stuff on my hands, and I don't know if I'm gonna. I know one speaker that might be at the next meeting and come from hospice, which will be a very good. I've heard him speak, and it's interesting. I learned stuff. The 10 Planks of the Communist Manifesto by Karl Heinrich Marx.
And that these things are actually a game plan on how to attack. It's not just a political philosophy. It's a
And I
a
really,
primer for action for these yo-yos.
I can spend a good 45 minutes.
Well,
on
and
this.
then you also have a derivation of that in the Alinsky Rules for Radicals, which is
Exactly.
what Bill Ayers, that communist terrorist who killed cops and blew up buildings, who is still running around free for some reason.
What he did is mild to this presidential candidate we have.
But you know what, Jim? It always never ceases to amaze me. The fact that if you're on the left and you're Democrat, everything you can do is fine. But there's a whole nother set of rules and very, very particular grind you down circumstances if you're a Republican. Boy, if you're a Democrat, you can just do anything. I've got a story in here about a Democrat who's been running around, and he has slashed 10 white women on purpose, and says in New York he is looking for white women to cut. He's been arrested at least 20 times before, and he's out on the street cutting more white
That
women.
isn't Wiener, is it?
No, he has a small wiener. He doesn't have to go out and cut women. And by the way, he lives with a communist, so they're doing us from a distance.
Yeah, who's good friends with who?
Hillary, she's part of the problem. But this guy has not been charged with a hate crime and said he was specifically going out to look to cut white women. Reverse everything I've just said for white for black, and what would have happened? Oh my God. Sharpton would have been marching up and down the street. Jackson would have been out there. Quanell X, all the other known poverty pimps would have been lined up going to town.
Here's our problem.
Yeah, one of them.
We'll talk about that the second hour, but and I have some interesting things. I'll tell you what, this stuff comes to us, and I mean, you think we spend hours and hours preparing for the show? We don't have to spend hours and hours. We just do research, we read and verify. This one here, LABE, and if you don't know what that is, that's the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry. Now, I know most of those guys don't talk to me at the Capitol. I don't understand why not.
Because you're not on the take, you're not crooked,
But I
you're
want
very
to
honest.
tell you something, and I'm not a union person, but what these guys did over the last 50 years, freaking amazing. I mean, we can't make this stuff up. This is my favorite sheriff.
Sheriff David
Besides
Clark,
Arpaio.
Milwaukee County.
Watch who Sheriff Clark blames for the riots at the Trump event in Chicago.
I like him. He's the man.
He's awesome.
And he's young. He ain't
I
going
lived
nowhere.
in Milwaukee for 16 years. He wasn't sheriff then.
For those of y'all who are not good in geography, this is one of our northernmost states that is still connected to the United States. It is on the border of Canada. So we are in the great north.
Yeah, Milwaukee. Well, Milwaukee's a good 180, 200 miles at least from Canada. But Milwaukee County Sheriff David Clark is no stranger to controversy, bringing an African American outspoken conservative sheriff.
And all of that are all very rare.
So it came as no surprise that he had an opinion about the violence at the recent Trump event in Chicago and seemed to lay blame not at Trump, like most liberal pundits, but at the feet of, guess who?
Obama!
Barack Obama.
Obama!
This dude. And you know now that because sheriffs are starting to stand up to Obama and telling him, you bring your feds in here, we're going to arrest them. He called the protesters riot starters who show up at these things to create chaos and labeled them as a threat to America.
Yes. Ferguson, anybody? Ferguson.
Donald Trump's First Amendment rights were squashed last night. That's when this is when the article is from. Because of the cancellation of this rally, he told Fox News' Neil Cavoto on Saturday, and he advised people at the rallies to defend themselves. Of which Cruz and Casey jumped all over that he was
Did you see
inciting.
that one Trump supporter in one of those last rallies? Old boy went by and said some things and had the shirt on, and he beat the devil out of the guy. The guy's pretty good now. He's well done.
See, and Trump made things like, don't back down to these bullies and these goons, he said. Clark said the blame for the protests fell at the feet of President Obama and not Trump, as many in the media have said, which was just sickening to me. The President of the United States is the one that created this division, stoking up racial discord, class warfare, good Lord, gender warfare for the last 8 years. For people to blame this on Donald Trump is way out of bounds.
But that's straight out of
what Megyn
Alinsky.
Kelly had to say about this.
This is straight out of Alinsky's Rules for Radicals. This is
Exactly.
what the plan is to stoke the racial fires so that by the fall we will have a civil war on our hands. Then you get your third Obama term and we have martial law. There you go.
Clark said Trump was targeted because he is the biggest threat to the protesters who are anarchists, which he was wrong in that statement. They're not anarchists. That want to bring down our legally constituted government. They advocate violence and they advocate chaos to bring down our legally constituted government. He said this has to be crushed.
Actually, you can take that in another vein because they're not trying to bring down legally constituted government.
Yeah,
they're
that's
trying
why they're
to
not anarchists.
They're
That's-
trying to stop Trump from coming in and breaking up the corruption from our government.
Do you understand that they understand that the free stuff may stop?
Here we go. And the payoffs and the kickbacks and all the other little massages and assuages and all this other stuff.
People, America is in despair. It's in total chaos and disrespect.
And Jim, somebody-
there is no respect. I will tell you this, and I challenge any of you people out there because y'all never seen me mad, but you step or burn a flag in front of me, it took 2 cops to take care of me in Milwaukee
Jim,
when that happened when I was 24
Jim,
years
you do
old.
know under U.S. code it's a felony.
It is.
So technically, I will take a misdemeanor battery charge to prevent the felony. I'll pay my $50 and leave after I have removed my foot from the appropriate orifice of the person who stomps on the flag.
See what happened in Milwaukee?
We're back there again.
We were downtown celebrating at the lake and we ran out of some liquid refreshment. And we went downtown to get some refreshment and there was a protest. And this was in the 70s. And I was just back from Vietnam.
You were primed and ready.
Look, I saw coffins with flags over them leaving Vietnam.
And we still do.
And you know what? You're in a foreign country, third world country, and you see American flags on a coffin. Well, there were 2 guys in the middle of this group with an American flag, and they lit it.
Oh!
And my partner that was with me,
Y'all
he
raced to see
turned
who's
around
gonna-
and he said, "Well, Jim." And then he looked in the middle. I beat the crap out of those 2 guys. Of course, I had a little blood, took a couple of shots, and they were both laying out totally. And then the cops came and cuffed me. And I thought, oh, crap.
They should have given you a medal.
Well, there's more to the story. So we get in the squad car, and I got blood running down my face, and the 2 cops, and they're driving. And I said, okay, this is not the way to the police station. The two guys turned around and they said, welcome home, brother.
There you go.
The two
Some real cops.
They were Vietnam veterans.
Some real cops.
and
They
what
put a
they-
show on for the public.
What they told me was, we've been waiting for somebody to do that.
Ooh.
And he said, by the way, they're not dead. That's what they told me.
That was not your concern.
They saw happened to see who I was with, so they took my partner back to the car. And then they knew where my car was. And I was like, man, oh days.
That's how it's supposed to
I got
work.
back to the lakefront, man. I had to clean up. And it was like, what did you do? And we didn't get no beer.
Yeah, but you got retribution.
Oh, yeah. And I'm telling you, that's, you don't have any idea what it's like in your soul to be standing there and watch these coffins get loaded up in a C-130.
Hillary does, and then she lies about him.
Oh, yeah.
She gets him killed,
Yeah.
and then she lies about him.
And she got
tells him.
shot at, too. I'll shoot at her. I didn't say that.
Last person who shot at her was probably Bill.
It wasn't a gun.
No.